we are live. Wrestle Purist Live, another afternoon edition hosted by myself. And today we've got a special guest co-host, Phil Lindsay of Grapsody. WrestleMania in Vegas again. It's been kind of the big talk going around the past couple of days. It's also a huge, big pay-per-view weekend for both AEW and WWE. So, lots going on. Double or Nothing, NXT Battleground, Saturday night's main event. So, don't forget to like and subscribe, especially if you're new. Massively appreciate that. If you've got any questions, any topics, anything you want us to talk about, get the super chats in. Massively appreciate those. Hope everyone's doing good. Phil, take yourself off mute. Yeah. Always put everybody on mute before we go live, but take yourself off mute. How you been, man? It's been way too long since you've been on the channel, bro. It's been a long minute, man.
I'm good. Busy, a little tired. Apparently I'm stalking people. I don't know.
Straight away, you know.
I don't know.
But yeah, man, Twitter's a funny place, bro. You know, things, logic works backwards, you know, and all those sort of things there, you know. But yeah, man, you're good though.
Yeah, I'm great.
Yeah, man, perfect. But yeah, I think the first thing we should probably start with, bro, is the big WrestleMania. WrestleMania changing venue, changing city. It's not been officially announced yet, but it seems like that's going to be imminent. So I think yesterday it came out that WrestleMania is moving from New Orleans. He's like, what? Huh? That never happens. Like, what do you mean WrestleMania is moving, bro? Like, how has this happened? And it's kind of, you know, basically New Orleans one gets cancelled, and then over the next couple of few hours. That don't even make sense. Over the next few hours, there's a few reports from here, there, and everywhere. Really, like it might be here, it might be there. I'm seeing it might be international. I'm seeing that when Vegas starts popping up and it's starting to really pop up, and then that just straight up emerges as the number one contender. Do you know what I mean? That emerges as the real city that they're going to be moving to. So it does look like we are getting WrestleMania 42 in Vegas. The only thing we're waiting for is the official announcement by WWE or the venue themselves. It looks like it's going to be Allegiant Stadium again. And it seems like, well, according to reports, they want to make it a regular thing, so it's not just 2 in a row. It seems like they're going to be, I don't know, 2 or 3 every 5 years or something like that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like maybe every other year or something. But the reports are saying that they want to make this a regular thing. Phil, I'm not a fan of this. And I think doing this off the back of they made loads of money, and I'm sure it was a huge success. But I think perception-wise, that last Mania wasn't particularly received super well. So just then a couple months later to be like, we're going back. It's like, yo, steady on, man. But what was your reaction when you first started seeing the reports and stuff popping up yesterday?
Well, I was confused, and then my immediate thought was, well, wait, The Rock came out and did this entire spectacular event of him announcing the show. He came out to Lil Wayne, Block is Hot. He had like this whole special entrance for it, and he announced it in New Orleans. So I was like, oh, so everything he did in that span of a few weeks was really for nothing.
Basically, you can't make sense of this guy's path, the paths that he chooses to take, you know. And you got TKO with just well, again, according to reports, this is just a money grab, really, isn't it? You know, they know they can make a lot of money in that market. A lot of tourism coming in and out. It's one of those markets as well where you don't really have to worry too much about bleeding the locals, you know, because it's going to be a lot of international people flying in, and that's just kind of how Vegas is, you know. And man, like I said, making it a regular thing. The tickets this year, you've seen so many people complaining about them. You've seen so many people highlighting how crazy it was. Well, it's only going to be worse next year, bro. You know, inflation, tariffs. I don't know what's going on over there, you know. But TKO are not playing, bro. They spent a lot of money. Well, they've, I guess, invested a lot of money into creating this TKO thing, this merge with WWE, and they are not wasting any time, are they, in trying to recoup as much of that back as possible.
Yeah, it kind of felt like with UFC, Vegas is already their hub anyway. And they make a lot of money in Vegas on MMA. So it felt like this time around. Funny enough, this does kind of feel similar to last year where Minneapolis had to bid in for Vegas, and then all of a sudden that went away and Vegas swooped in, and it was like, oh, okay, so it's in Vegas. And so it kind of felt like TKO was dipping their toes in and going, okay, this does really well for us with MMA. How would it work out with this fan base? Turns out really well. Despite like some of the negative perception around it and the pricing of it, it's still being touted as the highest grossing WWE event of all time. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, they'll be back. I didn't know it would be this soon.
This soon.
But as soon as I saw that and they were touting like the merchandising numbers, like they do the WWE World thing, and then all the events they had around it, like those like nightclub events and the roast and all that, you gotta think that that was extra income and all of these things.
The
because,
roast.
again, like Vegas is a big entertainment capital, so they're thinking like this isn't just let's bring WrestleMania here. This is so many opportunities to milk that fan base and make money, and I think that they did very well this year. So they're probably like, oh, let's roll the dice and do that again. Why not? Let's just see how they respond to it. And at the very least, if it doesn't do better and it's on par with what they made this year, they're going to see that as a success.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I think the question will be more kind of how close can they get to this year's numbers, you know? Like, I know I just mentioned like inflation, but let's be honest, it's only a year, you know? It's not like the ticket prices are going to double. Well, who knows, bro? Because I remember seeing somebody in the lead up to this Mania talking about how, I know obviously TKO are all involved now, and like already said, they're trying to get that money back. But, you know, so I've seen fans like, I went to WrestleMania in, I think like 2022, and my tickets that I got this year are literally double the price, you know? So who knows how much further they're going to keep pushing it, bro, because the ticket prices have been going up, you know? And they're trying to do all these different things, like Phil just said, all these different events, all these different, the roast, the roast of WrestleMania, the one dead man show with the Taker, and all these WWE World as well, like you just mentioned. It's like, bro,
it's gonna be more of it. Man. It'll be more. There'll be more convention stuff, and then, like I said, they have Fanatic now. You have to assume that that's another thing. They touted the on-site merchandising. I think they said it was up like 45% from last year, which is enormous. That's why I'm like, they're looking around like, no, we need to try that again. We made a lot of money.
They're pushing everything up, bro. Like the merch. Is anybody else clocking this? I don't know in the chat, yeah, but the WWE shop merch, those prices are not what they used to be a few years ago, bro. You know, like things have changed on that website. I don't know if the quality's got better. I doubt it. You know, because I'm pretty sure the print on demand. But yeah, man, I just every cent they're trying to get out of it, and you know they'll get away with it. I think for next year.
Yep.
I'm not sure if they'll do the same numbers as this year, because of course there will be some kind of like magic gone from it, because I do think there was something to WrestleMania in Vegas, and if you make that like a regular thing, and that kind of, I guess that brings me to my next point of like, you mentioned the UFC and Vegas being a hub for the UFC, and Vegas is like even past the UFC, going way past like the first days of UFC. Do you know what I mean? Boxing and everything. Vegas has always been a huge city for
it's like the fight capital.
Yeah, exactly. So, so it's always had that. Whereas wrestling's always been something that's like there's different cities everywhere. Do you know what I mean? It's like this city wants WrestleMania brought to it. This state wants different wrestling brought to it and stuff like that. So, I'm not sure how it will work long term. You know, them being like, oh, we're gonna do WrestleMania in Vegas 3 out of 5 years. Do you know what I mean, or whatever it is that they do. But I definitely think they'll obviously get away with it short term, and same with the ticket prices and stuff. They'll keep getting away with that until they don't, you know. And I don't think it will last forever, you know, because I think if you look at kind of the fan satisfaction over the past 12 months, I don't think the fans are anywhere near as dissatisfied as they were when like Vince was in control and stuff in the late 2010s. Absolutely nowhere near. But I think during Triple H's tenure, this is kind of and I don't think it's kind of like they're turning on him or hating him or anything, but this just feels like the mildest they've been on him, and kind of the product in general, you know.
Yeah.
And there is, don't get me wrong, there is some people that absolutely love him and the product and everything that they're doing at the moment. Obviously, I'm just talking strictly about the product right now and not all the shit that TKO is doing with the tickets and stuff. But it all coincides. The creative has to be good to push up the business side of it, and vice versa. So,
Well, here's the thing, though. They have the opportunity because this is basically a mulligan. People hated that main event this year. There's only up from here. You come with a better main event next year, and people are going to be like, "Oh, this was better," just because that main event's going to be better. I mean, even if the card is even slightly better, people are going to act like this is an upgrade. Funny enough, I was doing the research, got the article about this. The last time they did 2 seasons in a row, that was Atlantic City. That was in the 80s. That was WrestleMania 4, WrestleMania 5. And funny enough, take a guess who was the main sponsor for that show?
I'm sure you're gonna tell us, Phil.
Donald Trump.
I see the grin. I see the grin. Oh,
it was Donald Trump. And so the irony here in so many levels of how WrestleMania 4 went from the bigger, flashier event, there were more celebrities there, Trump's involvement there. And I feel like that's the same thing here. You're going to see more celebrities. You're going to see more of them trying to link to entertainment. You're going to see more of TKO trying to legitimize it as a staple in Vegas. This is it. This is the new status quo. People might as well get used to it. I don't think this is going to be a WrestleMania every year in Vegas, but I definitely think we're going to see more PLEs in Vegas every year.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think they're definitely going to, on top of just doing WrestleMania in Vegas, I think they're going to be hitting places like, like California, New York a lot more. Even more than have been, because you can do all that stuff that you just mentioned, bring all the stars out and all these different things and do all these different tie-ins and blah, 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 blah. A lot of stuff that a lot of the fans that, that we see on Twitter and stuff that just care about the wrestling, they hate that shit, bro. So it's like, I don't even think, the thing is, I think TKO also have to be careful with how heavy-handed they are with this, because WWE fans they had nothing against the celebrity appearance being shown in the crowd, tie-ins here and there. Do you know what I mean? They were a lot more accepting of it in yesteryears, and I think now, because they've been so heavy-handed with it, that like it's got to a point where unless you're showing off like the top celebrities or doing something amazing, do you know what I mean? Like a lot of wrestling fans just kind of roll their eyes at when WWE are like, "Oh, here's this guy off some Netflix series you've never seen," because they've done that shit, bro. Like, I've seen it, and I know obviously they got the Netflix tie-in at Raw and stuff, and they got to promote. I guess supposedly they have to promote different things and shit like that. But some of it is they're getting heavy-handed, Phil.
Yeah, this is the new status quo. People might as well get used to it. Once they debuted on Netflix and it became a weekly thing, I was like, this is just what the show is now. You're going to get the celebrities waving. Logan Paul is going to be a fixture of this thing. This is it. People that didn't like the Travis stuff, they're firmly in business with Travis. They're doing like the merchandise through Cactus Jack and everything. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is it.
Yeah. He's apparently wrestling, bro. What was that report? The big 6 man, the 6 man of doom.
I saw a tag match. What's the 6 man?
The 6 man. So what report was it? PW Insider. Let me pull it up. So I got my shit together, bro. make sure I don't undersell this shit, because it was disgusting. But it was. Where is it, bro? Cena and Travis, where are you, man? Boom, here it is. The pitch for a potential 6-man tag at WWE Money in the Bank involving John Cena and Travis Scott would have seen Logan Paul teaming with them, presumably against the Usos and Cody Rhodes. Whether WWE goes in that direction remains to be seen. Logan Paul, John Cena, and Travis Scott on the same team, bro. getting heat on the Usos.
Oh my god, that sounds awful.
It does sound bad, bro. Bro, I love the Usos, yeah, but you've got a big problem when you've got an all-star 6-man and the second best worker in the match is Jimmy Uso. Like
I mean, well, is Roman going to be there that day? Probably not. So, well.
Yeah, Roman's chilling, bro. Like, he's feet up. He's
No,
done, paid
he's,
his dues.
he's at Vanity Fair with
He's
his
good,
toes
bro.
out like it's over, bro.
He's so good, like he's. He was just like, yo, if I'm not wrestling Dwayne or Jacob at this year's Mania, I'm just gonna take the year off.
That still was the funniest thing of WrestleMania weekend, landing in Vegas and opening my phone. And the first thing I see is him with his feet out and Vanity Fair with like the salmon shirt on. Like, yep, I support the president. Like, with that fit on, with that like
Oh,
pose in the
bro.
chair, crazy, bro.
Roman, man, he's transitioning. He's transitioning to he's I don't know, bro. He's getting rid of that bump card soon. I think.
Yeah, no, he's about to be an actor soon. It's over.
He's just got a role, bro, hasn't he? He's just got the that Street Fighter role.
Oh, that's official?
My Deadline are reporting it.
Okay.
Deadline.
Do we know who he's playing yet?
And this isn't from Deadline, but what's his? I don't want to botch this, bro, because I'm not a stream. Like the news came out the day me and Joe were doing a stream, and it's like we've got loads of guys that like would care a lot more about that shit. I'm sure you do. Do you know what I mean? Like you're probably a better person to talk to about this than Joe was, but we just kind of like shrugged our shoulders at it. Like, yeah, man, good for him, bro. Where is he? Is he Akuma or something like that?
Roman? I don't know if that fits, but all right, sure.
But yeah, I seen because it's funny because like it was just some Hollywood like insider reporter who's got like a newsletter. I think it's John Snyder. No, that's what's his name? It might have been. His act's like in Snyder, so it's something like that, yeah. And he did initially like report about Roman being in Street Fighter, but then Deadline like kind of scooped him on it, so he was pissed. He was pissed, and that's he then later put out that he's slated to be Akuma. So yeah, man, that don't mean a lot to me. What does that mean? Like
Yeah, because Akuma.
Who is he?
I'm pretty sure Akuma he's a villain, but I'm pretty sure Akuma is Japanese. Like, I guess
Hollywood don't give a shit anymore, bro.
They don't care.
It's like, they anyone can play anyone, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it don't. We'll wish Roman the best of luck. I hope it works out for him, man. I'm not expecting him to be the next Batista. I was saying this with Joe. Like, I don't think I'm expecting him to be the next Batista, but I think he'll be able to find some relative success. Like enough for him to like happily kind of peace out on the third anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. Shout out, Rome. Someone said, Monty, Google Akuma right now. I'm not doing this right now, But shout out, Rome.
He's a villain. He's got like a black gi. He has the ponytail up and everything. I think he looks the part in terms of physique and everything, but that's kind of a weird sell when because Akuma is like quiet and stoic, and I don't know if that fits.
Yeah, Roman, he's been working on his facial expressions. He's been doing Bloodline Roman. He does that a lot.
That's a big part of the appeal is the bloodline stuff. It's his facial expressions, the acting. So this has all been leading to this moment.
What was it? What were those big bloodline things, bro? The trials that they would do. The trial of Roman Reigns and shit.
The trial of Sami Zayn, or yeah.
Oh man, it was a good time. It was a good time. But yeah, WrestleMania, Vegas, 2 in a row. Seems like there's gonna be a lot more of them. A lot of you guys, especially a lot of you guys that tune into these streams, kind of, what it is, I mean, all the stuff we just talked about, the celebrity tie-ins, trying to bleed as much money as you can, Vegas being a good city to be able to do that, because it's just set up to do. It's got all the different venues that you can kind of just use for different things. So, yeah, man, I think they'll get away with it, but long term, I think it could get a little bit sticky for them if they try to be kind of like stubborn about this sort of stuff, but We'll see because WWE is different to a UFC, man. Like you can kind of this, like I just mentioned, like you can kind of pull off different things because Vegas being like the fight capital, and even just in general, like fighting is just different to the way fans kind of receive wrestling, and what it means to the different fan bases. So we'll see, we will see. What else we got this weekend? Big weekend, Phil. Double or nothing. Double or nothing. We ain't got to do like a full preview or predictions or anything. But what match or matches have you got circled from Double or Nothing that you're kind of either interested or just simply excited for, bro?
Very excited for what looks like it's going to be the main event. We're getting a number one contendership match, Owen Hart finals as the main event. First time matchup between Hangman Adam Page and Will Ospreay. If nothing else, I know that match is going to cook. Yeah. I'm sure a lot of people that are tapped into Hangman lore, the Hangman stands, are going to be upset because I do think that Will Ospreay is going to win. I think it's a bit of a disservice the way they've been booking Hangman for the past year or so, especially like right after the Swerve feud. I think they should have really pushed him back into the main event scene. It's kind of wild that it hasn't happened yet, but I don't think it's gonna happen here. I do think he's gonna lose, and I do think they're very much telegraphing the Swerve Hangman tag team against Young Bucks.
Yeah, they definitely have been planting seeds for that, and they know that the audience is like eagle-eyed when it comes to that shit, especially if it even any sort of the elite, like especially so. But yeah, Hangman Swerve, bro. Like, no, we got like you correctly pointed out, bro. Regardless of what happens, that match is gonna be like crazy, especially in the main event. Like. They're gonna kind of have like a little bit of a chip on the shoulder to kind of deliver the main event as well, because like there's gonna be like they're gonna be going on like after Anarchy in the arena or some shit as well, so they're gonna have to deliver big, and I think they will, more than capable. Ospreay is a big favorite, I think, when you speak to most people. Hangman's booking is just, I don't know, like you know what it is, Phil, like. A lot of people, maybe people who have been subscribed for a while or more familiar with me, like from Twitter and stuff, like I wasn't like the biggest Hangman guy, Like I've always appreciated that he's very good, But obviously, like AEW did kind of choose him as like a guy to like do this big arc to the world title with and stuff like that. And I was always kind of like unsure as him as like a top guy. Like he's a main event level talent, do you know what I mean? But like as a top, like this is our guy that we're gonna go with for a year or whatever it may be, And I've kind of always found myself a little bit on the fence with it. But his heel turn, and the stuff with Swerve, and it weren't just like, oh, he had a great storyline with Swerve. It's like his performances and just him generally, like the way he slowly became a heel and then eventually turning heel. And like just kind of how he carried himself, the danger that felt, the dangerous aura that he had around him and stuff. Like that was the highest I've ever been on Hangman. I wanted them to explore that further, like for a couple years, maybe. Do you know what I'm saying? And it just feels like they barely scratched the surface with what they could have got out of that Hangman heel run, man. Like yeah, he killed Christopher Daniels, bro. Like it's like. I mean, okay, but I would have been very happy to have seen Hangman win the world title as a heel in that current form, that form of himself he was. And this is where I kind of get weird with Hangman, because it's like I don't think them doing this like redemption arc is like bad. Well, it's not bad wrestling. It's not producing bad content, and obviously the performers involved are all very good. So it is good, but it's just kind of like. It's just not where I wanted Hangman to be at this point, but he's just kind of, I got to deal with it now because they've clearly already decided to do this redemption thing, and he's going to team with Swerve, and that'll all be great, bro. But it's just like, I always get this night, like whenever Hangman, it's just kind of, they could have got so much more out of that heel run, bro. It feels almost wasted,
I think they quickly found out that their audience doesn't want to boo this guy, and that became very apparent after he burned this guy's house down, and then people started going, well, he was right to do that. And I'm like, he burned a man's house down. Like, I don't. And people were like, no, he did nothing wrong. And that's been a thing for this entire time. Even in the feud with Jared and all this other stuff, people wanted to cheer this guy. They did not want to boo him. And so I think they had the decision to make, like, are we going to make him face and just move on? What are we going to do? And I think the execution of it with the Christopher Daniels stuff was great. I think the stuff he's been doing with Osprey has also been great.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for the storyline and for, again, the lore of Hangman for the past 3 years of him wanting to be the guy that protects this company from CM Punk and losing at Double or Nothing, and then from there going on to never get his chance to be the flag bearer of this company again. I think it's a mistake that he hasn't main evented All In yet. I know some people wanted it last year, but I feel like this year was the year to make him the main eventer.
Yeah, definitely. I could be with you on that, to be honest. I'm not really sure what way, do you have any confidence in what way they do go with the main event for All In this year? Do you think they go with the, whoever wins this Osprey Hangman match versus Moxley? Do you think they go with Okada versus Omega? Some people think that will be the main event of All In, or maybe they do a unification match, start a new, create a new title, new world title, or if Mercedes wins on the weekend, I think it's more than viable main event to do with Tony Storm and Mercedes Moné. So, what's your hunch telling you at the moment, Phil?
I think if it's Okada Omega, that's probably going to main event. This is a match that Tony Khan has been chasing. It's been his white whale for about 5 years now. He's been trying to get this match on American soil for all this time, and I just don't see him not presenting it as a big deal. And if it's like the unification match, I could see that being the main event. But at the same time, I think Osprey's going to win a tournament. Osprey's crowning moment at All In is going to be a big deal as well. But he's easily going to main event Forbidden Door in London. So I could see him not main eventing All In and main eventing the next month at Forbidden Door.
He keeps calling out Goto. Well, not calling him out, but saying he would like to wrestle him, and he's somebody I never wrestled. And it's like, you just feel like I could very easily see that being the main event of Forbidden Door, because obviously it's their world title, isn't it? And Goto's been having a great run. So, Goto, Osprey, London, it's a main event, easy main event. Okada or Omega main event. Do you think they do the unification for the new world title, or do you think they just do like 2 bout Kenny or 2 bout Okada or whatever?
I think they're going to unify it. Something about it just feels like it. They're not really putting much emphasis on it being an international belt anymore. Kenny, for what I would assume are probably some limitations after coming back from pretty terrible situation with diverticulitis. He can't do what somebody like Takeshita would do and be a traveling champion. And so I feel like without that, the international belt is just another mid-card belt on this show. And so if that's the case, you might as well just unify them.
Do you think we're one step closer to the brand split that I've been asking for about 3 years? 2 years.
I don't know, but I do think we're going to get another world championship. I don't know if people realize it, but I know it's a taboo to bring this guy's name up in certain circles. But when CM Punk was doing the real world champion thing, that was kind of their way of having a world championship on that show. And so I feel like they won a world championship over there.
Yeah, man. Collision's a weird show for me because it goes against a lot of like what I rate, not rate in terms of enjoyment, but in terms of I don't know, like say because like we review shows and stuff like that, and like we comment on shows or whatever it is, and we get asked about them. And we do these streams and we do content and stuff. Like it kind of breaks your brain, Like I'm always like. When I watch wrestling, on top of it being like in top of my own personal enjoyment, it's like if there's a promo segment or even a match or a squash or anything, it's like, how productive is this? Do you know what I mean? Like, is this actually productive? Is this going to lead to anything? Or even if it's not leading to anything, how productive was it in the moment? Like, how efficient? Like, how worthwhile is your TV or segment or match or whatever it is watching? And like I find Collision like super like inconsequential, and it's not like it's not the most like productive, efficient like show, but I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind of like I say, it's kind of inconsequential. Not a lot happens. Like if somebody asked you like what happened on Collision last night, you just be like, just
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 just some stuff that like a few things that like is connective tissue between the shows, but it's not
mhm
really essential watching.
mhm
Um, and I do think the show has gotten a lot better. At one point, I was like, "Oh, I don't need to watch this. I'll catch up with it later." But I think the show has gotten much, much better over the past few months,
yeah
and I do think they've done a better job of using somebody like Tony Storm
mhm
or Mercedes on both shows. And even with Swerve was champion, using him on both shows. I thought that they did a great job of doing that. The issue just continues to be either commit to this brand split or what are we going to do? Because you got to make some things that are unique to this show. Otherwise, it's going to continue to feel inconsequential.
Listen, if I get a brand split, I'm gonna get an AEW flag.
Like Darby, you just got to put your own.
Listen, I've been calling for it for so long, bro, but it would be enough to make me just I don't know. I'll be a tribalistic fan for TK for 6 months if he does it. I'll be there. I'll be atting Fed fans on the timeline. I'll be doing all kinds of stuff. I'll be tweeting. I'll be tweeting on the Wrestle Purist account. AEW Dynamite was the #1 sports show on Max on Wednesday night. Mad shit like that. But but yeah, man, I've been calling for this forever, man. I'd love them to do it because, like you said, it just feels like it would take Collision to another level, and I don't think it would
I think
hurt
so.
Dynamite too much. And obviously, I do think it genuinely would be better for the talent as well,
I agree.
Because you would have like your rotational rosters on both, but you can also focus on your central characters, blah 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 blah, and it also gives you. I think it's better for roster structure because you've got so many wrestlers.
Yes.
It's like if you've got however like 10 main eventers, it's like that's already like if you're like that's already like your actual main event in mid card because not all the main eventers are in the main event all the time, so it's like they naturally kind of drop down, and it's like you've just got too much going. You've got too many wrestlers that the fans genuinely care like what your creative and stuff's gonna be for them, and then you've got the time limitations. Whereas if you can split that in two, and you've got 5 main eventers on each brand, and it's like you can actually kind of that's more manageable, and you can kind of focus on bringing people up through the card. But yeah, man, and like your people like your Takeshita's and your Cole Fletchers, like they can really like potentially be like a top guy on one of the shows. Do you know what I mean? Like and something and stuff like that. Whereas, say if you could have somebody really emerging like a Fletcher or a Takeshita as a world champ on a show like a Collision. If I did the brand split, I wouldn't actually put those guys on Collision. I think they're kind of more would suit Dynamite better. But just as an example, but then you can have your world champion on Dynamite, and then that's your Moxley or your Osprey or fucking Darby or whoever, So I think it'd just be better, a lot better for roster structure, a lot better, especially for the beneath guys, and the people who are trying to get into that upper mid card and trying to like get some traction and some momentum going. So
Yeah.
yeah, man.
I think this Death Rider stuff in particular has really exposed the need for another world title. And I know some people don't like the 2 world titles. Particularly when Will was still on the pod, he would argue with me all the time that, 2 world titles doesn't work. And I'm just like, but you've seen on WWE's product particularly that it just doesn't work. Just one world championship does not work, especially when you have 2 different brands and they're doing too many different things and you have such a big roster.
Yeah.
And I think the issue with the Death Rider thing from the beginning to me was, well, why are we doing this thing that a good amount of your fan base is telling you don't like? And then you have like 5 or 6 other guys easily that your fan base is like, I want to see this guy as champion. And so I don't know if you had another title to make prominent on Collision, maybe that wouldn't be as big of an issue. But I don't know, man. You're doing this Death Rider thing, and then every pay per view we're seeing Osprey tear it up. It's like, all right, but Why
Yeah,
are we doing it?
the roster's just too big, bro. It's too big. It's very top heavy as well. And it's like, yeah, we can do. It's like, maybe a couple years ago, I'd understand the argument of like, oh, we just don't do 2 world titles. It don't make sense. It's goes against the purists. Excuse my pun, you know. But like, it's bro. Back in the day when there's territories and shit, or even like the old New Japan roster and the Noah roster or whatever, bro. Like these rosters didn't have fucking 200 people on them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's just different now, and TV deals and stuff, and the way that you have to do TV wrestling. It's like it's a completely different game now for like WWE and AEW. You know, so it's when it comes to like the amount of titles, I don't think either of the companies have got it right at the moment. You know, but you know things could be. I think AEW could make some pretty big, realistic steps into kind of getting closer to getting it right than even WWE at the moment, because you know you can. There's a few unifications I think they could do. You know, so so Sammy and Dustin come out with those ROH tag belts the other day, bro, and it's like, alright, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just like it's and I love Ring of Honor, and part of me was like, for the longest time I didn't want to just be like, fuck it, let's give it a break, you know, with Ring of Honor, because I love Ring of Honor. Do you know them ones? Like it's special
Yeah.
in my heart, but it's just like we gotta have some, you know, we gotta make some serious decisions with what we're doing with that place, you know.
They keep making this mistake, and they did it 2 weeks in a row, where they're trying to put it alongside this Max segment that people want. And the week before that was last week. They got us excited for this Max development, and then right after this tag match, they do this whole segment with the crew, and then Dustin and Sammy comes out, and we're like, well, just get to the Max thing that we wanted. Why do we have to sit through this to get to the Max thing? And then so this week you get the Max development with the contract signing, and then you try to throw this long Dustin promo afterwards, and it's like, but I didn't really want that. I just wanted the Hurt Syndicate stuff.
They could have just threw up a graphic for that match, you know. It's just like, that's what if
he could have condensed that down to like 2 sentences, like, "Hey, I'm challenging you at Double or Nothing. Put the graphic up on the screen." I didn't need the rest of that.
No, for real, like it was just overkill, man. Like we don't need all that. It's just, if you are gonna decide to focus more on the Max stuff for the Hurt Syndicate, it's like, yeah, like I think the fans are accepting of that. Like I don't think Double or Nothing, the AEW fan base would have been like, oh, why the Hurt Syndicate not defending the tag titles on pay per view? Like I don't think that would have happened. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like this all just felt. It just feels unnecessary. It's like everyone knows who's gonna win, bro. You know,
Yes.
It's not like I don't get what it really does for anybody involved. You know what I mean? Except for like, I guess, like, I mean, Sammy. You know, so when's the last time Sammy wrestled on Pape? I mean,
The fact that I have to think about it is not
Sammy
good.
Guevara's had an interesting couple of years, bro.
Yeah, but I mean, my thing is, why didn't you just create other challengers for this belt? You're putting the Ring of Honor tag champions against them, and it's very clear they're gonna lose. They're the tag champions for that brand. Why are you setting them up to lose?
I'm trying to find this last pay per view that Sammy was on. He was on Forbidden Door 2023. Nah, that can't be. It can't be Forbidden Door 2023, bro. No fucking way.
It might be, because I'm trying to think. Like before that, it was like the big Pillars 4-way.
He was on the Wrestle Dynasty pre-show. I'm not counting that. Because that's an ROH show as well. Like in ROH on the logo. Yeah, bro, that's crazy. Forbidden Door 2023. That's mad.
Wow.
That's mad. The Jericho Appreciation Society, bro. Jesus. Sammy, man. What happened there? You know?
It's a long podcast if we're going to get into Curious Case of Sammy Guevara.
Listen, man. He's trying his best these days. He's getting dusted on paper, you know. He's
Double champ Dustin is getting him on pay-per-view.
yeah, I hear that, bro. To be fair, judging off what I just read out, that does seem like the case, you know. The Sons of Texas, you know. God bless Dustin Rhodes, bro. You know, big fan on this channel. All right, what else about Double or Nothing was there? Anarchy in the Arena. Do you think Gabe Kidd's gonna appear on the show? It feels like everything's set up for him to.
I am assuming, because he's not in a match, this is the way to set up the big Eddie Kingston return. Because otherwise, why are you doing this? Because it kind of feels like you're setting him up to be an enforcer in this match to do something. But if it's not leading to something that's tied to AEW fandom, what really is the point? And the closest you're going to get is Eddie Kingston, because of course Gabe Kidd took Eddie out, and he has been basically laughing about it every chance he gets. Anytime somebody interviews him, he's like, "Ha ha, that guy's at home eating Chick-fil-A, loser."
Yeah, man. I've missed Eddie, bro. I have missed Eddie. Especially when like you see like Mox is on top. Do you know what I mean? And he's doing his heel run and stuff. It's just kind of like Eddie wouldn't let Mox get away with this. But yeah, man, I think there is a real chance of seeing Eddie. But yeah, there was a couple of things floating about Darby as well. It's like when he was on Everest at the start of the week. You know, he was at the top of Everest at the start of the week. So maybe he got a helicopter down, flying in for Double or Nothing. You know, fuck it. He's yeah, I'm not
really.
Yeah.
I'm not really confident in that. I think the fact that they didn't show anything for Darby this week on Dynamite was kind of telling too. Like they showed all this stuff on social media of him getting to Summit, planting the flag, but no like even small mention of it, no video package or anything for him. That kind of tells me we're probably not going to see him.
Yeah, I was very doubtful anyway. Like I said, how the fuck would that even if he wanted to, yeah. I don't even. Is that even humanly possible? Like,
I don't know.
I don't think. Like,
I don't know.
obviously, because it's not like you can get like you can't get picked up from the top of the Everest, can you? You know, them ones like I don't think that's the thing that could happen.
Don't know.
You know, I don't think you can Uber a helicopter to the top of Everest, bro. So, I don't know, man. Tony's a billionaire, so I guess where there's a will, there's a way. You know, but. Yeah, I'm with you. I very much doubt that. I'd be stunned. Like, genuinely, like, I'd be like, you know, like, jaw on the floor. I'd be like, what? But yeah, man, when do you think he does show up then? Like, when do you think they. And do you think he's who they're waiting for? Like, what do you think's. Like, do you think they're waiting for him to beat Mox, or do you think they're just going to be like, fuck it, we're going with Will? Like, and
I don't
when
know
does
at
all
this
this
point.
play out, you know?
I don't know what you do with Darby at this point because I think it's too late at this point to attempt to bring him back and make him champion. It feels like all of the iron is in the fire behind Osprey at this point. I would assume, especially after Osprey said on Dynamite that he wants to go into the UK as champion. I kind of feel like that's the move now, and especially where Osprey is, you can make the argument he's the hottest babyface in the company. It's either him or Omega.
I'll go Osprey.
Yeah. I mean, Swerve is in the conversation as well, but like in terms of like the matches and everything, I think it's probably Osprey. And so I don't think that you could justify Osprey potentially winning this tournament and then losing at All In, especially if he's going to beat Hangman. I think that would be a terrible decision.
Listen, there's been some terrible decisions over the past year, you know. I'm not sure where I find myself on like where this title ends up and when, because like I've been very like I try not to be naive or too hopeful, especially after the Swerve situation, you know. And I weren't even like fully all in on that like some of our guys were, you know. But like I'm with you in the sense of like it does feel like it's been too long and Darby doesn't feel too significant like in coming back at this moment in time to be able to be like, alright, he's going to be the one to come back and save AEW. Do you know what I mean? Like the narrative hasn't been on commentary or throughout this time like, we're just waiting on Darby to come back. When's Darby gonna come back? Do you know what I mean? Because it feels like they'd play that up a bit more on commentary or just in
Right.
general in canon. Do you know what I mean? If that was going to be the case, and they haven't really touched on it all, so it does feel like you said, feel like it's been too long. And kind of that fire and that demand to see Darby like overcome Mox and the Death Riders and quote save AEW isn't really there. Then Osprey on the other hand, it's like even throughout like the Owen, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like you'd win a match, and like they'll do that intentional shot of like the all in like the
Yeah.
sign in the corner, like their version of the WrestleMania sign or whatever, and like they'll do that, and then they'll do other things as well, like that MJF. I think the MJF backstage altercation, little couple of words shared. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, MJF's whole thing, the whole reason why he wants to be in the Hurt Syndicate is because he wants the world title, and he's made that very much part of his character and what he's talking about at the moment. And they're doing the stare downs, like, do you know what I mean? It's like, is that going to be a potential world title feud down the line? That's what it felt like they were presenting it as at that time. Like that was felt like the hint they were giving us. Then there's also the part of me, bro, like there's also like the fan side of me. It's like you could have put the world title on Osprey. Like Osprey comes in from New Japan, and we all know he's going to be a hit, and I think he's taken a lot of us back, even how much of a hit he's been, and we all expected him to be a huge hit. But it's like even like the promos, how he's connected with the AEW audience, like those little things. I don't think a lot of us were expecting him to hit on as hard as he has. But of course, on top of that, the way he delivers on pay-per-view is fucking alien. Like you don't see anything like it. So he delivers, he ticks every single box. Do you know what I mean? And it's like the first All In, he gets a Jericho match. It's like, okay, you know what I mean? They're doing the MJF Adam Cole stuff. That's like on fire at the time. Blah 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 blah. It's like, okay. And it's like the next All In comes around, and it's like, you can't. Maybe you could have been. I know we was talking about Hangman could have been like the All In main event of like last year's, and obviously they decided to do the Bryan thing. It's like, okay, I guess that's kind of forgivable. Do you know what I mean? It's like, whilst all this is going on, it's like Osprey hasn't won a world title yet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like he has the match with Swerve, and it almost felt like they did that match with Swerve because it's like so many people were talking, Osprey's the man, he's going to win the world title, he's going to win the world title. And like they booked that match, and I think it was even said by like somebody involved, like to like make the point of like, nah, Swerve is the guy. Do you know what I mean? But like that's like they had to do that, otherwise Osprey probably would have ended up just being this like undeniable fucking wave. And like Swerve's performance in that match with Osprey was phenomenal as well, and I think that absolutely like helped Swerve be like, no, I'm the guy for now. Do you know what I mean? It's like I said, Osprey throughout all this time, he's been doing all this stuff. He has a feud with Cole Fletcher, amazing. People have loved the matches. Been a huge thing for AEW, performing on all the pay-per-views. He's won the international title. He's done X, Y, and Z. He's done everything right. Do you know what I mean? And it just feels like you want to tell him to wait again if he gets to this final and he loses. Like he's gonna wait again. It's like, bro, this guy should be like a 2-time world champion in AEW by now already. You know what I mean? And it's like,
Yeah.
he weren't able to do like the Wembley one, but like you said, he's mentioning wanting to bring that title back home. He wants to bring it home, and it's like, I think his run is absolutely justified being the guy to, frame as he's our guy that we're putting all our eggs in. We're putting all our eggs into his basket, and he's going to be the guy to save AEW and lead us into this new era, if you want to call it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I do think Will Ospreay is the kind of guy you can do it. He's the right age. He's the right level of performer. The crowd connects with him. He just ticks all those AEW boxes, I think. So I'm with you. I think if you haven't beat Hangman as well to just go lose, it's
You can't do that, especially as much as people want Hangman to win this match. If he beats Hangman on Sunday and then just loses at the pay-per-view, that would be oof. I mean, and to your point, I feel like this feels very similar to like that first year of the Elite, where none of them wanted to be champion because we got to be unselfish. We don't want people to think we're booking ourselves to beat everybody here. And I get that to a degree. And I did enjoy a lot of stuff that Ospreay did up to this point, but it's getting harder and harder to deny that he's the guy.
He is. I think yeah, I agree 100%. I think he is the guy. I thought there was kind of. I've always, I think like the past couple of years, I've been like AEW doesn't really have like a guy. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously MJF won the world title and he was a heel. Do you know what I mean? And I tried making him a babyface. But because he was doing like that friendship promo, that friendship storyline, it wasn't really like an ace babyface where I'm just the guy who just comes out and just kicks everyone's ass. And what they did, obviously, it created great business for them, and you know what I mean. But at the end of the day, the babyface run and in the direction that AEW decided to go with MJF's babyface run, or the direction MJF wanted to go in, whatever. Yeah, it didn't end up working out long term, you know. And we saw kind of like what happened. And then like since then, it's just I just feel like Ospreay is the one. Do you know what I mean? Like if AEW Ace, like he ticks all. I know a lot of people say Hangman, and I think very like cool. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't think that's a bad shout at all. I don't think Swerve would be a bad shout at all. But for me personally, it's always came down to like I remember having a conversation ages ago, like, oh, who should be Mox and be like AEW's Ace? It's like Kenny or Ospreay. Kenny obviously is in a different phase of his career right now, and I think we're seeing and being able to like come to terms with that. The longer that because I brought it up before, thinking it might have been on the stream that I did with Solomon like last week, but it's like Kenny's around, bro, but there's obviously a reason why he's not wrestling all the time. Like Kenny was on the Kenny was at TV the other day, bro. Do you know what I mean? He didn't wrestle a match. He's done that a few times. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like he'll do a run out, and I'm not complaining about it, but it's just kind of adjusting to like this realization that Kenny can't. Do you know what I mean? He can't. Basically, what I'm saying is there's absolutely no chance in hell that he could go at the rate that Ospreay is going at these days. Not a chance. Do you know what I mean? Like Ospreay can put in that ace shift. Do you know what I mean? And I'm sure you could make it work with Kenny.
Sure.
So you might as well just go. You know what I mean? You might as well just put your foot to the floor and just go with Ospreay, I think, you know? So
yeah, I think the biggest difference with Ospreay right now, and it's kind of the same thing with Swerve, is that they're visible, man. And it's like they're on TV every week, they're doing the matches every week, and you know, the thing that, you know, you would expect out of a world champion to do all of the media appearances, like Ospreay's constantly doing interviews, he's constantly present. And I think that's the thing Swerve got right as champion as well. And some of the other champions didn't. Like that was a big appeal of having Jericho as champion the first year, is that you can have a champion that had the name recognition and be visible. And I think that's one of the few things that Hangman is missing right now. He just doesn't have the visibility of somebody like Ospreay.
I agree. I think I've always said Ospreay. He's more vote for the ace, and there is still that part of me that won't fully commit to thinking that he is going to be crowned as that. Do you know what I mean? And beat Hangman and then beat Moxley at All In, and it's just going to be the perfect ending, because there is obviously the Darby thing looming. And it's almost kind of like a shame on Darby, because I've seen people resent Darby for it, and it's like he's the last person to blame in all this, bro. Like if you want to blame it, if you want to blame creative, like that side of it, this isn't Darby politicking. And you know what I mean? Like he fucked off to fucking climb Everest, bro. Like that's just what he did. You know, no one's like, that's how much he fucking politicked for the world title. This is obviously just you know, Tony's the guy who gives the final say, and you know, Mox obviously had a story that he wants to tell. Do you know what I mean? So it's like creatively, don't be like I said, I've seen a little bit of resentment towards Darby for it, and it's like, bro. So it's not this Darby's not putting you through this Death Riders storyline. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, look, Darby's incredible. You can make an argument that Darby is, if not, I won't say the best pillar, because I think the best pillar is Max. He's probably the second best pillar, and I think the gap between him and Max, it's not even close.
I was gonna say, like, it's not Sammy.
No, it's not Sammy. It's
Is it Jack Perry's the other, isn't it? Yeah.
Not Jack, it's Darby, and I think the gap between Max and Darby is a lot closer than people think. I've seen people even argue that Darby is the best pillar.
Yeah, and definitely. So, a lot of people argue that, bro.
Yeah, so he's incredible. I just think Darby being Darby, they're like, yeah, we want to put the world title on you. Wait, I'm gonna go climb this mountain. Like, well, hold on. talking about?
I've been saying it for even since like last year when you wanted to do it, bro. Tony, man, like. I've said like, yeah, it's cool that he's been able to do it, talent being able to do things outside of wrestling and stuff. But bro, if it's my promotion, and I was the owner of any sports league or team or franchise or anything, and one of my top players come to me and say, "Yo, I want to go climb Everest," like,
What?
no.
What are you
Like,
talking about?
so shout out to Tony for being, I guess, nice enough to allow him to do that, but that could have never have happened in my promotion, you know. Just never, ever.
But see, I don't think there's another guy like Darby at another promotion that you're telling him, hey, this could be this career making moment for you. We're gonna make you world champion. Okay, well, great. I'm gonna go climb this mountain first. Like, what do you mean? We're trying to make you champion.
Darby's a unique cat, man. He's like, I don't know, bro. This is like you fucking Dennis Rodman decided to go climb Everest in the middle of the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was, but yeah, to your point, a lot of people have Darby above MJF though, bro. A lot of people.
Yeah.
Because MJF is a little bit divisive, isn't it? Because some people think he's sort of like corny and he's very heavy-handed with his like entertainment, and you know what I mean. So and obviously Darby's. If you're just talking in ring, I'd say Darby's the best one. You know, I think Darby's a phenomenal in ring worker, one of the best around today. So,
but I mean, if you're looking at like match quality, Max has had better matches than Darby. Like, if you look at the resume, I mean, the Iron Man match with Brian, the dog collar match, like he's got like a bunch of really great matches on his roster. And I mean, Darby as TNT champion, I think he was fantastic on TV, fantastic television wrestler. But like some of the big matches that Max has on his resume, I don't think it's that close.
see, I don't know. Thing is, likewise, it's hard to kind of compare as well at the same time because Darby has wrestled a lot more than Max in AEW. You know, Max obviously is a lot better with it these days. He wrestles a lot more, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I think
I don't know, man. Like Max versus Kenny Omega on Collision, bro. Like he's got like massive matches, bro, that Darby doesn't have.
Darby's got the big ones as well, though, man. He's got like the matches with Joe. He's got a couple of big matches with Joe. He's got the 2 out of 3 falls match with Christian Cage.
Yeah.
The Ospreay match. But obviously, I know it's Ospreay, but still, fucking hell. Obviously Sting's retirement. I know obviously the sentiment that goes into that, but his performance, especially in that, was oh my god, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, Darby's he's got a few of those from that year. He's got the Takeshita match also. That was
man.
But just Takeshita, who has bad matches with Takeshita or Will Ospreay?
There you go. But yeah, MJF obviously he's had a lot more like main events and shit as well, hasn't he?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he's the longest reigning world champion we've had, you know. So how far is Max off it now? It can't be. Nah, he's still a while away, isn't he?
He's Max still a while away.
Max had it for over a year, didn't he? So
yeah, I think Max held it longer in his first reign. I have to look that up, but I think his first reign was longer.
So I think it's mad comparing like that first reign to like this one, because you got to think like Max's whole thing was like, I'm just gonna wrestle, I'm just gonna wrestle everyone viable that I can and try and do the best and fucking blade and fucking. It was very, it was very like straightforward. Do you know what I'm saying? And it connected, and it worked really well, bro. Enough so that they went to him like another 2-3 times after that. Do you know what I mean? But and obviously this reign, it's a lot more like, it's a lot more intricate. It's a lot more, he's trying to tell a more complex story. He's trying to do all these different things. He's trying to like bring other people into it, and he's got his own like little universe now. Like. Whereas like before, it was just like, yo, I got the belt, and anybody can wrestle me to try and take it off me.
Yeah, the first reign is slightly longer. The first reign was 277 days. His current reign is up to 221 days.
Okay. But yeah, man. I'm with it. With the Ospreay thing again. To go back to it real quick, just yeah, like I don't want to get too naive and like fully buying like, oh, Ospreay's gonna do this, and then they're just like lol Darby, you know. But at the same time, I can't figure out like when they would even do the like.
Yeah,
Ospreay, like you know what I mean? Like we've just spoke about it for the past 10 minutes or however long it's been. It's like Ospreay winning all in makes sense for 1,000,001 reasons, you know.
right.
Darby, it's like, when does he come back? Then when do you do the like? What are we doing? You know, like
Yeah, just the idea of keeping the Death Rider thing going for another month or two to get to the Darby match, that just feels like a massive mistake. Like I just don't see how you could possibly do that. I just don't think it would be worth it. I mean, because where do you slide that Darby match in? Are you then trying to wait till All Out and doing it in Toronto?
This is what I'm saying. I have no idea, bro.
Yeah, I think you got to pull the trigger at this point on Ospreay.
The only thing that I guess I could say is that what you say, like, what could you do in the meantime if you want to stretch out this Death Rider stuff? Is that they've been doing a lot of these All-Star tags, and they've been working out very well. You know, they've been huge hits. So it's like they could just do that for another month, and I think the audience would be pretty receptive to it. To be fair, so
yeah, I mean, it's a very New Japan style way of doing the weekly television, and that's why it works. That's why the Bucks are so good at it, because it's natural to them. And I think it's helped the Bucks out more than anybody, because when the Bucks first came back and they cut that promo after the pay-per-view, I was like, I don't know, guys, what are we doing? Kenny's coming out doing the dad jokes. I was like, come on. Get back to what we love these guys doing, man. And so the matches have made the Bucks look great. And so, I mean, that's part of the reason why I'm excited for the Anarchy in the Arena match, because it feels like we're back to what they do best.
No, I'm with you 100%. It's kind of a lot of people kind of rolling already, weren't they, with the Bucks? And I want to see them do well, man, because they're hugely important to this promotion, bro. And they are one of the greatest tag teams of all time for my money. So, you know, I want to see them be able to be like productive, you know, and not just fucking doing bullshit. So, yeah, man. And seeing them do like tag matches, all-star tags, party matches, and then to do a stick match like Anarchy in the Arena, it's just like this is what the Bucks should be doing at this phase in their careers, man. Just the hits, basically just playing the hits, you know.
Where is Jack? Is Jack injured? What's going on?
I don't know, bro. But like people keep asking Sean myself about it. I keep seeing, because obviously I'm subscribed to Select, and he does his Q&A stuff, and people will be like, "Where's Jack Perry?" And he'll be like, "Well, you know,
well, he's somewhere."
It's just basically like he's he was pitched. The thing that Sean's had to reiterate about 3 times over the past couple of weeks when people ask him is that like, he was pitched for something, to do something with Kenny when Kenny came back. Right. It didn't come to fruition, and he's at home.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think he was pitched to be Kenny's first opponent when he first came back, because of like the tie-in to him attacking him while he was still injured. And so that made sense. But then at the same time, I feel like Jack was getting a lot of those kind of big matches, and
you got Brian's only title defense. No, not his only one.
No, he had more titles.
Nigel wasn't for the title, remember?
It wasn't?
Nigel wasn't for the title, if I remember correctly. I don't think it was for the title. He was just on hate, you know?
I thought that was a title match.
I don't think it was.
No.
Someone in the chat talk to me. But only talk to me if you know. Don't just do what me and Phil have just done. You get me? Like,
I thought for sure that was a title match. I have to double check, but I thought sure it was. But I posed this question to Reg, I think a week ago, and I was like, does Jack Perry still fit in this group? Because I feel like what the Elite is at this point, and they come out with the suits, they have the very smarmy BTE humor. I don't know that Jack fits there. And once I saw Ricochet with him and his humor matched theirs, I was like, Nah, we got to do a swap, man. We got to get
Mm.
Ricochet in this group because he fits so perfectly with them. Like in that All-Star like big multi-man he was in with them, and they were doing all the spots with him being with the bald
Oh,
stuff.
perfect.
It
Yeah,
was
man.
great. It felt like BTE, and so I was like, this guy belongs over there with them and Okada. I don't know that Jack fits as well. I think Jack fits better with the Death Riders.
I mean, I guess and
Again.
Nigel was not for the title, but he wrestled Okada though. Yeah, that was I'm not gonna say anything about that. But anyway, Jack Perry. I don't know if you've seen this. You probably haven't, But like my whole thing for the past few months has been, bro, if he just comes back as Jungle Boy and we just kind of forget everything happened,
Just get past the scapegoat
bro, I'd be forgiving of that. Like, I'd let AEW get that off. You know what I'm
He just
saying?
goes back.
Like,
Whoa.
like nothing happened, bro.
It just
I'm
comes
down.
back out to jungle life like none of that happened.
I'm for it, bro, and I'm dead ass serious.
I would
Like,
be on the floor laughing, bro.
I'd be like, yeah, man, that's a bold booker. that's. I'd
Yeah.
fuck with it, bro, because I think as a skill set, I think Jack Perry definitely suits being a babyface, and I get obviously like narrative and perceptions leading to kind of his heel turn and him trying to go with it, and they tried to do something with this scapegoat project, and
Yeah.
to put it bluntly, it was a complete failure, but I think as a babyface, bro, like I think his in-ring qualities all point to being a babyface. I think he's look at him, bro, with the long curly hair and that. It's like, how you can't hate on that guy, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Well, as a famous guy once told us, if you hate Jack Perry, has to be something wrong with you.
oh man, and it's like, yeah, like this little arc has been on the past couple of years of like him being this, like, I don't know, this entitled, like arrogant. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all these other things. Then obviously, like you just mentioned, like Phil, CM Phil, he like all that sort of drama and stuff, and it's just, let's just like wipe it all away and just get Luchas. Let's get Luchasaurus healthy and cleared. And let's
Is he ready to go yet?
I'm not sure. I believe the last update on him was a pretty positive one.
Okay.
But like I said, let's get him cleared and healthy. Like, I don't think
Right.
I've seen anything regarding him actually being cleared yet. But
I-
if he just came out on Luchasaurus' shoulders next week, yeah, man,
I
I'm
had
there,
to be,
bro.
I have to be careful what I say every time I say something about Jack. People get upset with me, and I'm just like, guys,
Oh, this is a safe space.
I like Jack Perry. I don't dislike Jack Perry because I remember at the time I was like, I don't think Jack should be Brian's first title defense, and people got so, there's reasons for it. I was like, I don't think this was the right move, and
I was with you. with
people
you.
were very upset that I said that. I also was like, I don't know about continuing the scapegoat thing. I don't know about continuing to reference the glass stuff. It might be just time to move on. And people were like, oh, here you salty CM Punk fans go. And I'm like, no, there's a shelf life on this specific thing, because if the thing that I've said for years with that, even when they initially came back and they trolled in the show in November, and people were like, yeah, there's going to be a match. I was like, listen, all of this stuff is funny. Everybody have your fun. But if there's no match, there's no point in doing any of that. You're referencing a guy that's never going to be in the same orbit as these guys. And even more so now because he's not with the company anymore. It makes no sense to keep referencing him. There is no
payoff.
match. Just
No
move
payoff.
on.
Nothing. But they didn't. And
Yeah.
they tried, like I said, they tried this scapegoat project, and like I
No.
already said, it complete failure.
No. I won't say it was a complete failure. I just think that
I would. I would definitely call it a complete, utter failure. Like,
yeah.
to the point where, like I said, get the music back.
Get Joe
put
Life
the trunks back on. And
Well, he never really got great music as a heel, and I think that was part of the missing piece of his presentation. But I don't think it was a complete failure. I just think that the character never evolved past, like hints of a character. Like there was always like hints of where it could go. There was potential, and it never really got there.
Yeah. I'd say one thing though, one positive about it is that it did make him a bit more comfortable with his promos.
Yeah, he's a
You
much
know.
better talker, and I do think that he's a good heel. I think he plays off the crowd very well. I think that when you've given him the chance, he can work well as a heel. I just think, like I said, the limitations of this character that he's trying to hold on to just aren't working. I think you've got to evolve this character past where it's at.
100%. But I guess for argument's sake, what you said at the very start, I do think he would definitely suit the Death Riders more than like this elite. You know what they got going on with the elite at the moment. That being said, though, like I said, repeated many times, what my preferred direction would be. One last thing about Double or Nothing: Mercedes or Jamie.
I think it's very clear that Mercedes is going to win. I think that's another one of those day one AEW fans are just going to be upset because a lot of them are like, no, Jamie has to win this match. I don't think that Jamie has done enough since she's come back. I don't think that she has enough of the groundswell of support behind her to justify her being the first one to beat Mercedes. And I think that's why I just don't buy into it. I think the promo she cut this week in Ring with Mercedes was great. I think the build to this has been good, but I just still don't believe that she's going to beat her.
Yeah, I struggle to believe it. Well, I do also think it would be kind of nice at the same time if they did go that way because I definitely think there is something to like there hasn't been enough from Jamie since she's came back to kind of cause a groundswell of like a real demand of like what I mean, an undeniable demand of like she's got to beat Mercedes.
Yeah.
That hasn't really been there, but at the same time, it's like when you look at kind of where she was when she went down hurt, and kind of what she's been given since coming back, it's kind of like there has been like a lot of people have pointed it out, as well. Like she, like Jamie comes back, she was the world champion, and like I mean, it didn't really seem like they had anything for her for a good few months, So you could kind of, I guess, some people could buy into the idea that like this is that. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, you know what I mean? We didn't make a big enough deal of her coming back, and we should have. But this is how we're going to fix it. She's going to beat Mercedes, and then she's going to wrestle for the world title at All In with one of the biggest stars on our entire roster. But because of the reasons you've already said, I can't see her being, like the first person to pin Mercedes in an AEW ring. It's a hard sell, but I won't be against it. I'm a big fan of Jamie, obviously a fellow Brit, and like I said, like I was just mentioning, like I do kind of sympathise with like where she was and kind of not quite getting that much since coming back, and I'd like to see her get something big and see if she can still kind of like live up to, what we all want her to be. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't really think she's had like. And at the same time, she hasn't gone on like an Osprey run where she's like undeniably over delivered in all the spots that she has been given. Where, where you're like, oh my god, how is she not world champion?
Right.
But I don't think she's like stunk up her opportunities either. It's just kind of like it's been very like tame, hasn't it? It's all been very tame.
Yeah, she had a few things going against her. She came right back, and they didn't put her right back in the title picture. And then all of the feuds that you expected her to get right away didn't happen. Like the Brit one was there, they didn't do that. And then they took their time with the Saraya feud, and that didn't really get her where she needed to be. And then she had to take the time off for like the visa issues. It's been a lot of stop and start with her, and I think that because of that, and none of that is her fault, but because of that, that's why I'm like, I don't think she's had like what you're describing with Osprey, where people are fully behind him.
Yeah, Mercedes. But yeah, man, like I said, Mercedes versus Tony, that's a huge match, bro. That's a huge match. I think I wasn't particularly against any of the main eventing, but I think it was like last week or the week before. Like I was pretty like, if I had to pick my main event, I would have just gone with the women. Fuck it.
for this for
I
Double or
think
Nothing.
Tony. No, for All In.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Tony Mercedes. Because I think Tony is big enough of a star to be able to hold that.
I agree.
Do you know what I mean? At this point in her career, and she genuinely feels like one of the biggest stars in the promotion. Whenever she comes out, whenever she shows up in screen in a backstage segment, anything she does, the crowd absolutely fucking love this woman, you know. And she is also a great wrestler. That helps, you know. And then obviously Mercedes Moné, like that's just a marquee name, you know. It's fucking, and you know she will deliver in that main event as well. Like they'll probably have like the best women's match in AEW history if they were to go that route, you know.
Yeah.
So
it kind of feels like where they were at Revolution, where if this wasn't the chance to let the women main event, then when are you going to do it? Because if the argument is always we need the story to justify it, this was the best story that you've ever done with the women between Mariah and Tony, and you didn't do it at Revolution, and now you have a situation where Tony is bigger than ever, and then you have somebody with Mercedes star power. It feels like you could easily do it here, but if I'm a betting man, I still think it's probably going to be Okada Omega.
See, I think the more we kind of talk about it, I can allow myself to be a bit more naive in believing that Ospreay will actually get the job done. You know, I think if Ospreay is getting the job done at All In, I think it kind of has to main event, bro. Like it's. Because Okada Omega, I know it's like oh, Tony's wanted this match forever, and, you know, and it's like it's Kenny, and it's just I don't know, man. Part of me feels like I'm being a mark if I say that. Do you know what I mean? Like it's one of those where it's
I totally agree.
It feels a bit like it feels like a little inside baseball for it to be like a stadium main event in the US, and like obviously I love both guys, and
it was probably going to main event the big Madison Square Garden show if Kenny didn't leave and go to AEW.
MSG is different though, isn't it? And it's different time.
Yeah,
because you know, with the roster available and stuff like that. That was an interesting show in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just kind of like, hey, here's some really, really great New Japan matches and some ROH matches that aren't as good.
Basically.
And Matt Taven is your champion. Like, okay, great.
Yeah, I don't think I articulated that very well in kind of calling it too inside baseball, but there's just something about Kenny versus Okada that feels like.
I understand what you mean. I don't think that it feels as special as those three matches at that time period, because it feels like you're trying to build off of like the legacy of what those matches were before. And I don't think that that's a wrong thing to do for a crowd that is mostly hardcore wrestling fans. But I think for something like unique to your audience, and in terms of like what has been big on your show for the past year, you could definitely make the argument that Ospreay has been a bigger deal on weekly television and regular pay-per-views than that match.
Yeah, definitely can make that argument. And even to add on to that, talking about like what's been the most important over the past year.
Yeah,
I don't think they've done near enough to heat up Okada if you're gonna have him main event your biggest show of the year. I just don't.
I don't think you have either.
No, the Continental Classic, okay. It felt like when they did that, and then they did like the stare down and stuff, didn't they, with Kenny? It was like, okay, Okada's now gonna, like, from that point, you would think, okay, Okada's gonna be literally like 1B heel on the show next to Mox. Do you know what I mean? Mox is the 1A heel because he's the world champion just by default. And then Okada is just going to go on this like very focused. Do you know what I mean? Like he was going to be a huge part. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and you build towards Kenny beating him. Do you know what I mean? Or whatever you want to do with it. But it's just like they haven't really done that. And like I said, I just don't think they've heated up Okada nearly enough to justify him main event in your biggest show of the year. Even with all the kind of like lore and legend of what that matchup brings, you know, because you have other options, bro. You know, it's not like if there wasn't like a clear main event like Ospreay dethroning Mox, or even what we just spoke about with like Tony and Mercedes, like that can definitely like, that just screams pay-per-view main event to me, you know. But yeah, if you're not gonna do that, like,
That is a great point. I don't think that they've done enough to heat up Okada. It feels like Okada just kind of shows up and has good matches here and there, but it doesn't feel like he's a regular fixture on the show like he should be if he's going to main event this show. But again, I'm also saying this as somebody that has already booked a ticket to Dallas on the idea of seeing Okada versus Omega in America. But again, so that's why I'm like, I don't know. It could go either way. I do think that it does say something that in the year Ospreay came in, you brought Mercedes and Okada in that same year. And I think Ospreay has been far away the best addition to weekly television of the three.
Yeah. It's not even close.
Yeah.
Even weekly addition to the TV, the pay-per-view output, everything, you know.
Yeah.
He's connected the most with the fans. Do you know what I mean? Every single aspect, you know. So yeah, on the back of that, it would just be weird to be like, "Well, you're not the one who's getting the All-In main event. We're giving it to Okada."
Yeah.
Like, and I know obviously AEW doesn't really work like that in a sense of like treating their matches like, "Oh, you're getting this." Do you know what I mean? It's more so like, what match do you want to put at the top of this card? You know. But yeah, it's a bizarre thing, and obviously, like the focus then on my point was on Okada because Kenny Omega is probably one of the only people on the roster that can just kind of like fucking moonwalk into a main event. To be honest, you know what I mean? Like he's got that kind of motion, you know. But yes, I don't know, man. We'll see how it all plays out. I am interested to see how they handle that, though, especially if it is going to be Mercedes Tony, like we both think it's going to be. So,
yeah. I mean, really, when you think about it, the last one-on-one Omega match was that the Takeshita match. I think it was because the triple threat was at Dynasty.
Feels. Let me go to Tyson Smith's cage match.
I think that was his last one-on-one match with AEW was the Takeshita.
He wrestled Blake Christian in the squash.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
You remember Vanilla Baby, 4 minutes 52 seconds. That was in March though, so yeah.
That was in March.
Yeah, it was the end of March to be fair, 26th.
Okay.
26th of March. Yeah. So yeah, man. He really hasn't wrestled that much, has he? He's wrestled Gabe Kid.
That's what I was thinking. Like to your point with Okada, like maybe that won't be the main event.
He's only wrestled 7 matches. Yeah, 7 matches. Gabe Kid, which was that's my match of the year, which is like hilarious. That like man was off for over a year, just comes out, it's just like boom, like match of the year. Then he wrestled Brian Cage. I remember that. Then he did a tag. He did the tag at Grand Slam, Australia. The Takeshita match, Blake Christian, the triple threat match. And the match, I was going to say the other day, but it was the end of April now. The big all-star tag that you were just talking about with Ricochet in the books and Okada. But yeah, he's not wrestled. What? That's 3. Yeah, 3. 1, 2. Yeah, 3, 4 singles matches.
Doesn't seem like it, but I guess so.
But yeah, like I said, Kenny Omega, he can fucking moonwalk into a main event with his eyes closed. You know, like he was off for a year and just had the match of the year with Gabe Kidd. You know what I mean? So, it's like, respect to Gabe Kidd, I think he is a really good wrestler. You know, but he's not somebody that at the start of anybody's year, I think anybody would note them down. Like I think he's going to be in the match of the year this year. Like he's a very good wrestler, but you know, Kenny is that good. All right, a quick little look at WWE. And we'll get out of here, I guess. Alright, what's going on this weekend? Saturday night's main event. 4-match card that we've seen so far. Maybe something gets added on SmackDown tonight. We don't know. But they're doing
surprisingly, no women's match on this card.
That's why I said that then, because I think there is a chance that they might just add like, I don't know, like a Zelina Vega match or something. Do you know what I mean? That's the champ, bro. What are you laughing?
No, because I'm just thinking, like, who would you have her wrestle at this point? They haven't built up a challenger for her.
Mia Yim, you know. How many times she wrestled for that belt?
I just think it's crazy that she had like this elongated feud with Chelsea, and then Selena just comes in and beats her.
For no reason either. Like, I've got nothing against Selena. Do you know what I mean? But like the crowd, when she comes out, like the crowd makes absolutely no noise. Like it's almost like awkwardly silent. Like that's how bad it can be some weeks. You know.
Yeah.
So it's not even like it was a thing where it's like, oh well, the crowd's decided to just get behind Selena, so fuck it, let's put the mid card title on it. That isn't what happened. Like they just randomly decided, fuck Michin. Do you know what I mean? Like,
everybody else in this situation, let's not give Chelsea a WrestleMania match, even though she had an incredible year up to that point, and let's just put the belt on Selena. And man, I like Selena, but I just think, to your point, they hadn't done anything to get us to that point. They hadn't built up any storyline to get to that win. It just happened.
Yeah, interesting times. But yeah, Saturday night's main event, the 4 matches. We've got the steel cage match between Priest and Drew. We've got Jey Uso versus Logan Paul. And John Cena versus R-Truth. And then the big tag match. Punk and Zayn versus Rollins and Breaker. Half of this card is fucking crazy, bro.
What a weird card. This is another card, kind of like the Backlash card, where it's like, what is this? Who is this for? I don't know. I think the big issue here is that this all feels largely predictable. There's no way R-Truth wins that match, for example. Like, R-Truth is going to lose. And at this point, because you started building towards the rematch with Gunther, we kind of know Logan Paul is going to lose. So
they did try throw you off on Monday, to be fair.
Yeah,
they did a lot of like, Logan and Gunther, Logan and Seth backstage. Do you know what I mean? Like they tried, but it was very transparent. You know, like it was very like, we're trying to make you think he might have a chance, kind of thing. You know, but yeah, I'm with you, man. It's pretty. How about the main event now? Well, I'm assuming it'll be the main event, the big tag match.
That's kind of main event over John Cena.
I'm just assuming, bro. Because I just think R-Truth in the main event, in which is going to be a glorified squash, is fucking nuts, mate. So
they might get time, but I don't think.
Why would you get? Why?
I don't know why we're doing this match. Neither do I. I don't know what we're doing. I don't know. Like the tag match will probably be good, but the rest of this is just kind of like advance these these plot points to get to from A to B.
Hopefully Priest and McIntyre is like a good, like a blow off match. Do you know what I mean? Like finish with that and they can both move on to different things.
I'm gonna assume that's probably gonna be the best match of the show.
It should be.
And then the tag match will probably be very good. But
what do you think's worse? What do you think will be worse, Jey versus Logan or Cena R-Truth?
I mean, I don't think any of these Cena matches have been good since WrestleMania. I think the WrestleMania match was terrible. The Backlash match was better than a WrestleMania match, but I still wasn't the biggest fan of it. And I think this is going to be the same thing. It's going to be the shenanigans and like the cinema stuff that I'm not as excited for. And I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, this Cena stuff's been pretty bad.
it's not good. It's not good. I've been just kind of like, man, free Cody, man. Where Cody at, man? Get Cody back on TV.
No, trust.
Get Cody back on TV. And I don't know if this is hit that belt back on Gunther, man. What are we doing? Yo,
for real though, because it's like. No, because it's like the idea. I get it. Like, I get. Like, you know what I mean. Triple H had this big idea, like, what if we turn John Cena heel, or whatever the fuck, yeah. And so that's such a big thing. And he's like, okay, we'll put the title on him. But it's like when you actually see it, bro. It's like, bro, you've been a wrestling fan for long enough. Like, people have talked about a John Cena heel turn for over a decade. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And everyone's fantasy booked it. Everyone's had an idea of what it might look like.
WWE, man. The biggest monkey paw in wrestling, man. Anything that you think you want, you're going to get it. And it's not going to be nearly as good as you think it's going to be.
I mean, Cody Rhodes winning the title, you know, I'll give him that. But it's just like Cody's a once in a fucking generation hit for WWE, you know. So that's not really a fair one to bring up. But yeah, man, seeing as heel Roddy, it is a shame. There is a part of me that's like it's a shame, and even though kind of performance level from him, he's just like I think a lot of us expected so much more out of him. You know what I mean? Like in terms of like depth to his character and stuff like that. He's yeah, he's just not been very good, to be honest. And I think it can, you know, he can still have his good moments on the way to his retirement. Of course, I don't think his retirement run is a complete failure at this point. There's still, you know, there's like over 6 months left. I've said this before, bro. I know what I saw at Elimination Chamber, man. You know, him and Punk. There was still some magic there, Phil.
I think that's the match to get to, but it's going to take us a minute to get to that match. I don't know where you do that match. Is that the Money in the Bank match?
I don't know.
I don't know, but yeah, still at this point.
Man, well, reportedly, it's not the Money in the Bank match because they're looking at doing that bullshit tag.
That's right. Yeah, it's going to be rough sledding to get to the Cena Punk match, but
I'll be there. And maybe only there. Do you know what I mean? Like it's very much like whenever John Cena is on my screen, it's like, yo, call me when he's fucking working CM Punk. You know what I mean? Like
it's kind of the same thing with this Jey Uso thing where I'm just like, okay, man, get this guy some feuds that I actually care about, do something. But man, the more and more I've seen Gunther, I'm like, why do we take the belt off of him, man? Like,
Gunther's a beast, man. He made that shit with Pat work somehow.
Yeah. But I fear that Gunther is going to lose again to this guy in a few weeks. And we're going to keep this Jey Uso run going.
Your guy's going to beat him for it, though.
I kind of think that's where this is going as well. Because at this point, Raw still kind of feels like the Seth and Rollins show. I mean the Seth and Punk show.
Yeah, man,
so I don't know that I buy long-term Jey Uso staying champion.
Yeah, I don't think many of us do. It's like I think he might have spoke about this when he did his stream on Tuesday with Rob, but you know, it did feel like there was an intentional effort this week to kind of not have Jey Uso's title reign be on an island. You know, involve it. Like you need all your top guys mentioning it and wanting it and vying for it. Don't just because it's Jey Uso. Don't just put Jey Uso's world title reign on an island. It's like the audience knows that Seth or somebody's going to take it off him eventually. You know, there's no point running from that. You know, there's no point running away from that idea. It's better off if you just kind of involve it all as like Jey Uso's got this title that everybody wants. And it's like Gunther wants it. Logan Paul wants it. Seth wants it. Braun Breakers even give it a few. Do you know what I mean? A few looks and shit like that. So it's like all your top guys and your push guys at the moment are all talking about the world title, and that's just better for Jay's reign because it gives it more significance. X, Y, and Z. You know, and I guess that could even like soften the blow when he beats a guy like Gunther. If you do want Gunther to win, do you know what I mean? Because you can. I guess it's like it's part of a bigger picture, and it's like. You know, like Gunther is a good person to have in the mix if you want to keep prestige around the world title. You can't do too many Logan Pauls. Do you know what I mean? And if you go away from that direction, you try and like wrap everybody in cotton wool. Like, Jay can't beat this person, even though you're keeping the belt on him. So, Jay can't beat Gunther. Jay can't beat Seth. Jay can't beat Braun Breaker. Jay can't beat Sami Zayn. Jay can't beat this person, that person, this person, that person. Do you know what I mean? It's like his reign ends up becoming insignificant and meaning nothing. So it's like, you know, I didn't notice that.
What do you think they do with Gunther though after this though?
Goldberg.
What are they doing in that match?
In the South, apparently.
In the South, just in a ring in the South.
Apparently, they're looking at Sean did a report on it earlier. I don't want to fuck up his wording. Someone mentioned about those people that believe it will be in Atlanta. So,
well, the only show that they've kind of said could take place in Atlanta is Evolution. So.
No, but remember they're doing Saturday night's main event.
Oh, that's true. It's the same
The
weekend.
same, yeah,
That's
that'll
right.
be the same day as All In. So what if they do Goldberg's retirement on Saturday night's main event, head to head with All In,
Bro.
both in the South? Texas is the South, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah, Texas is the South. So yeah, both in the South. Just WWE will play those cards, though, bro. We know how nasty they can be. Do you know what I'm saying? They'll do that. They'll do like, yo, Goldberg's final match. You know, versus Gunther main event head to head with
On
AEW
on
All In.
NBC.
You get on NBC as well, yeah, bro. Jesus. Yeah, I can see him doing that, but there is also the part of me like I'm not sure Goldberg just comes back and works Gunther and pieces out. Like I think he might. I think he might be like. I think he might do like a few TVs and shit like that. You know?
Yeah.
So, we'll see how that plays out.
So
But
I think
yeah, that's what.
SummerSlam makes more sense for that match. But
Where
two-night
is SummerSlam
event,
this year again?
Jersey, MetLife.
The big 2 night. Cardi B's hosting that shit.
Yeah.
What does that even look like, bro?
I have no idea.
Yeah, you gonna watch the next two Battleground? Any chance of you catching up on that? Because obviously I think it's head to head with Double or Nothing, ain't it? But
I
you gonna catch up on any of that?
I probably won't. And based on the segments that they aired this week, I was like, yeah, this is very much not for me, man.
I'll tell you what though, one thing I did want to mention, probably the biggest sleeper of the whole weekend. There's a lot going on this weekend. Stephanie and Jordan Grace.
Yeah,
That could probably be like, that could end up being like a top 2, top 3 match of the night of the weekend. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
I'll be keeping an eye out for that. What else on that show? Kalani Jordan and Sol Ruka. Remember the last match? And everyone was talking about it like it was Ospreay and Ricochet, but the female version. You know? You remember this?
I remember
this.
I remember this because I've been a fan long enough to remember how there was this ongoing debate about how Ospreay Ricochet is not wrestling. Like you had like some of the older wrestlers coming out and saying, "What is this? This is not wrestling. This is just choreographed stuff."
Yeah.
And you had some of the fans that were very much like, "This is not wrestling." And then when it was replicated on the WWE stage, all of a sudden, like, this is one of the greatest women's matches I've ever seen. It's like, okay,
Interesting.
yeah.
I like to believe that it's different people, you know?
Sometimes it is, but sometimes self-awareness, as we know, is not something that a lot of fans have.
Yeah, we was talking about it just before we went live, you know?
Bro, watching Punk go back over there and be beloved is one of the funniest things I've ever experienced as a fan. In 2014, they hated him. They hated this guy, and so for him to go back over there and they're just acting like, "No, we never hated him." Like, okay.
All right, bro. That's what they do as well. Like they just pretend they never hated him. You know?
No, we never hated him. AEW fans hate him more than we do. They do that with Cody now too. Like, no, AEW fans hate Cody. Like, oh, we always loved Cody. Okay.
Cody, man. But yeah, bring him back. Pretty good
free
wrestler.
Cody,
like,
man.
Pretty good wrestler. Cody Rhodes is. Yeah. All right. So, is there anything else I wanted to mention? What we got? Really? We even spoke about Roman Street Fighter stuff that I just noted down.
You talked about it briefly.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And we even ticked that off. Who you got winning the NBA championship, Phil?
I believe it is going to be the Oklahoma Thunder. It just feels like their year at this point. They are notably better than the Minnesota Timberwolves, and I just am not
team as well.
Yeah, very good team. I am just not a believer in the Knicks. I'm sorry, Ibu. I just don't believe the Knicks, man.
I don't think Ibu don't really, but even before they lost this first game, and obviously that was like a wild game, the way that they lost that game and everything. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's not even like you can base too much off that, you know. But But at the same time, it's like I have. There is a part of me that has bought into the romance of the Knicks potentially. Like going. Even if they get past the Pacers, that's huge for them. Even getting this far is huge
I
for
mean,
them. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, they haven't won a championship since what 1973. I think that was
Something,
back when Phil Jackson was still on the team. Um, so I get like the idea of the Knicks going back and winning everything about it. Like I'm sure New Yorkers are like foaming at the mouth right now, but I do think they're going to beat the Pacers, but I just don't see them beating OKC.
Yeah, I think if they beat the Pacers, it'll be a fucking grind. You know them ones like they're gonna have to battle their way into that final against the Thunder, who we both assume is gonna be in the other side of that final.
The cackle that I let out watching that ball bounce up and go back in, I was like, no fucking way.
Did you think it was a free at the time as well?
I did. I thought the game was over. I was like, no way.
It's there's just something about the Knicks as well. Like you see when it all clicks for them as well in certain periods of games. It's like Cat's rebounding everything. Like it's just like Brunson's doing his thing, and it's just like it does make me feel like I'm like, but it's like everything would have to go perfect over a fucking 6-7 game series if they got to the final, and that's just not gonna happen,
I don't know, man. OKC defense, I don't know, man. I don't know if they're gonna get past.
Barkley's calling the playoffs the Oklahoma Invitational.
Because it's their playoffs to win. I feel at this point.
No, I hear it, and obviously they just got awarded the MVP as well.
Yeah, shout out to Shea. I know people are all on his neck for being a foul merchant and all these other things. But
they say that about everyone. Say that about Brunson. I've seen people say it about Brunson. They say even like other great players like Jokic, like he's boring to watch. Like it's just you can't win when you get to a certain level in NBA. I'm starting to see.
Superstars are gonna get preferential calls. That's just what it is. I don't like the flopping either, but you'd be absolutely nuts to try to act like Shea is not a great player, man. He's phenomenal.
Bro, the amount of buckets he makes as he is flopping, as he's coming to he turns in some of these shots. I'm like, what the fuck? And again, I said to you before, like, I'm just a brick casual when it comes to the NBA, bro. But like, he still does things like even just little things where I'm like, yo, how the fuck? Just like he hit a shot. I think it might have been in that last Nuggets game, he was basically on his knees, like he was basically on the floor, and he managed to still make it. And obviously he got the foul as well. And it's just like, bro, that's efficiency. That is, like that is efficiency.
Yeah, it feels like it's this year, man. Yeah, he deserves it, man. Jeremy Lambert has a tortured OKC fan. I feel like he deserves it as well.
Oh, is he? Oh, I did not know that.
Big Oklahoma fan.
Swear on. Big couple weeks for him then, it seems, bro.
Oh yeah, big time Durant hater. Big
Fairs. But yeah, man, I've been enjoying the playoffs though. I have been enjoying them. And we'll see. This Knicks Pacers thing, it's been cinema.
I can't believe it. I still can't believe the Pacers have made it this far. Watching all of this, watching connections to friends that are Pacers fans, the way again cackled at that clip popping up and J Rose is like front center. Like, what are the odds? The J Rose is just like the first person that pops up on this thing.
You seen like the bit that's been going around of like all the Reggie Miller stuff, where it's like the Reggie Miller did the point at it to Tyrese, and obviously there was that, but like everyone does the thing where it's like, oh, how can Reggie Miller do this when he knows the NYPD have just found DNA that trace him back to 4 bodies that were found in the Hudson River. Oh, bro,
this This would be the most New York Knicks way to lose, though. If they lose to the Pacers, man, making it all the way back to the conference finals finally, and losing to the Pacers after everything,
Again.
like the, I mean, last year, and they clearly could have beat the Pacers if they didn't get injured. And having a full healthy squad this year, potentially losing again, I'm telling you, man, they lose again, and they're rolling credits. We got the Coach Carter credits with the music going, and it's that guy getting hit with that massive bag of garbage, and he's got to feel like $1 million now.
Bro, Knicks need to do something. It's tonight, isn't it? It'll be tonight. Yeah, Knicks need to do. They need to win.
They
tonight.
can't lose two games in the Garden.
Yeah, they can't. Yeah, they can't.
I don't see it
bro.
happening though.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. As long I just want this one to keep going. I really wanted the Knicks to beat Boston. Don't like Boston. But with this, it's just that like I just want to watch good series now. Do you know them ones? So
yeah, I foresee we're not going to get a good series out of the Timberwolves. I think Timberwolves are going in 5 games.
I mean, Ant tried last night.
He did, but...
you know, he tried. I think he got like 35 points and like 9 rebounds or something. You know, he tried.
I love McDaniels just realizing they're gonna lose. He's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna shove this guy to the ground because we're gonna lose anyway. I got a foul to give. Fuck it.
He literally came out and said, "Yeah, I just fouling him." You know, just like, all right, bro.
Yeah. I wasn't emotional. It looked a little emotional.
Anyway, a couple super chats. Only got a couple when we'll run out of here. 2FK199. Ospreay to win. Hangman's Naito at WK 12 moment. Wrestle Kingdom 12.
Yeah, it does kind of feel that way. I do think that Hangman is eventually gonna get his moment. I'm just not sure when. Well, his second moment, because he got his moment at Full Gear, but
yeah, man. GMB, formerly known as Super Chat's name I'll never say, $2. I blame Cena more than Triple H and Rock for his bad run. Yeah, obviously he's the performer, bro. And although, like, yeah, the creative, a lot of it is stunk. Like, bro, he's wrestling R-Truth this weekend. You get me? Like, no one's trying to like defend that. But at the same time, it's also his performances, bro. Whether it's the promos or in ring and stuff. And that's even with me trying to, like, you're being realistic. Like, he's fucking coming from Hollywood. He's like 50. Do you know what I mean? Even with all these considerations, bro, he's still stinking it up. So, yes, you can blame John Cena for that.
Didn't The Rock say in the Pat McAfee interview that all of the character stuff that he's doing is basically Cena's idea? Like, this was his idea to do the stuff. Basically, the you people stuff.
Yeah, if Dwayne was literally like, listen, yeah, I'll set you up with one of the greatest angles of all time, and left you to it, and you've stunk it up, and I would have done something different. That's it. He literally said, "Look, I would have done some creative differences." And
listen, man, I set you guys up. I went back to promoting some movies and doing what I do. You guys didn't need to find a boss anymore. What a guy.
Oh no. Will Chisholm, $2. Phil, Punk did get the Austin 98 pop on Raw. Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he did.
I can't see watching him be beloved over there is the weirdest shit. It's so surreal to me, man. I can't believe it.
It don't wear off either, bro. Like you think. Obviously, we know Punk's a huge star. Yeah, you think Punk's obviously we all know Punk's a huge star. He was a huge asset in WWE before he left. He was a huge asset in AEW. He was a huge asset returning to WWE. But it's like, obviously there was some novelty to him coming back, the Survivor Series pop, and even just those few promos. Like it almost felt surreal him being back and embracing it, and the fans embracing him. And you'd think it would kind of like settle a little bit. Do you know what I mean? But it just hasn't. Like he's just still. He gets these crazy pops. Like
yeah, I think the main event at WrestleMania helped it as well. I wouldn't be surprised going back to Vegas. My prediction as of now is the main event's going to be Cody versus CM Punk.
Yeah, that's the best thing they can do, bro. That promo, face-to-face promo. I think it might have even been like last year. No, yeah, it was. I think
the one right before Rumble.
Yeah.
I think that was in January.
Was it last year? Was it last or this?
Or do you mean the
Might
first
be.
one that they did before the other Rumble, or this one this year where he was
Have they
basically
done?
telling
They done?
they've done more than one because this time where
No,
he
no. 2020 for the 2024 Rumble. So last year,
yeah
because Cody wasn't the champion. Well, obviously he won anyway. But like, yeah, I remember that promo segment on Raw that they did, the face-to-face promo when they were both like, oh, "I'm gonna win the Rumble, no, I'm gonna win the Rumble," blah 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 blah. Yeah, that was fucking magic, you know. So it's
yeah
I've been waiting for him to get back to that pretty much ever since, you know. So that's definitely WrestleMania main event worthy in my opinion. And obviously with CM Punk, he's not getting any younger, bro. Do you know what I mean? So it's
yeah
you know.
again I that is my pick to win. I don't know how we get here. The idea of Punk going and participating in Saudi Rumble to get that sounds absolutely nuts, but I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Dwayne's not gonna wrestle at this next Mania. He's just announced like fucking 5 different projects, hasn't he? So
Yeah.
you know
What
he's
what's
got
the
two
Roman
A.
match if there's no Rock match still?
It's got to be Jacob. It's like how do you figure that out?
Yeah.
Like how do you get the dynamics of that right? You know, because Roman's just gonna be a face now until he retires, isn't it? You know them ones. Like that's it now. You know. It's like Jacob is already getting to a point where he's basically a babyface at this point, by the way that the crowd have just chosen him. Even though obviously he's in the bloodline with Solo and that, and he does do some heely shit still, but it's like, you know, people just love him, bro. Like he's gonna have to do an actual babyface turn pretty soon. And obviously that's coming because of all the tension that he's building with Solo and stuff like that. Blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't it depends. I think it depends on where Rollins is at the start of next year. I
Yeah.
think you could easily go back and finally do the one-on-one match that they should have done a long time ago at WrestleMania, but I don't know.
Yeah, then it's also I think it's like, what does he want to do at Mania? Because I think the only things he really wants to do in his career now is probably like I'm sure he'd like to do the Dwayne match, and obviously you know you would assume and also hear that you know he does give a fuck about trying to solidify Jacob Fatu as like you know a
Yeah.
real top main event asset, you know, and to be honest, bro, he might not even need to do that because Jacob's probably just going to be able to do that himself, you know, and obviously
Yeah.
beating Roman or doing a program with Roman would be huge. It'd be huge for literally any wrestler in the history of the business, you know.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. If they do that match, I don't know that I buy that Jacob would win. You think Jacob would beat Roman at WrestleMania?
I would because of the inclination that Roman genuinely like wants to elevate his guy, you know.
Yeah.
Because if it was just a thing where it was just like, oh, Roman's happy either way, you know, and it's just like a Triple H or, you know, in yesteryears a Vince McMahon decision, and it would have just been like, oh, well, Roman's probably just, they'll have a great feud and Roman will just win, you know.
Yeah.
But I think in this day and age and where Roman's at in his career now, I think he would make a point of wanting to put Jacob over at Mania if that was to happen. I think he would happily beat Dwayne. He would happily make Dwayne look at the lights. I just don't know if Dwayne would do it, which is a hilarious thing to think about. Because like he would look at the lights with Dwayne, you know. It's not like he'd say no if he got the opportunity to do that match, you know. But it's like the idea of Dwayne being like, I'm not getting pinned by Roman Reigns.
I mean, he did come in 2 years in a row like, hey, man, well, that guy won a Rumble. All right, well, okay, cool. Well, he can have his match later. And then this year, hey, this guy's super over, top merch seller in the company. Well, turn him heel. What's the problem? I'm the good guy here.
Shout out Dwayne, man. Johnny Burney 199. Phil, I think Triple H will use Ye's new song for the Raw intro. Come on, man. Come on, bro. Why'd you direct that at Phil as well? Like,
Bro. Bro. Oh.
that's crazy.
I of course have not heard this Ye song in entirety, and I try to act like this half of Ye's career is just not happening. Like
It's the best way to handle it, bro.
it's just
You know?
horrible.
Yeah, 'cause that's all you can say about it, and you know, because if you don't ignore it, or you can just be like, yeah, he's turned into like a horrific human being. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's just like it's you know,
Yeah.
but that first half though, you know.
Yeah. I basically checked out once he started doing slavery as a choice and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, that's enough for me. I'm good.
Bro, I checked out. No, no. To be fair, that wasn't as him as a person. Like him as a person, I probably checked out around the same time when he was wearing like MAGA hats and shit like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of checked out on Kanye pretty early, you know. Like I didn't fuck with like Yeezus and that in the time. Like, I was
Hated
just like, bro,
Jesus.
that's what I'm saying. I was like, this is ass, bro. And I've just always wanted him to get back to like that old type of shit that he was doing, and he just kind of never did. And it's like a lot of people started to like. Even on shit like Life of Pablo and stuff like that, it's like nowhere near as good as I see people talk about it, you know, no one. So
Yeah, I like Life of Pablo, but the thing is, when I
it's
listen
alright.
to it now, I can tell the songs. Like I'm like, this is a Chance song. Ultralight Beams is a Chance song. Like before
Yeah.
we knew that Chance wrote it, I was like, this is a Chance song. It like Waves sounds like him. 30 Hours, I was like, yeah, this isn't a Kanye song. So then when we learned that Drake wrote that, I was like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, Kanye is you know, even before he went like all this like fucking Trump and fucking anti-Semitism and fucking all this other slavery as a choice and all this fucking insanity he's been doing in the past few years. It's just like when he went too out there, you know what I mean, with his music and stuff, I was just a bit like, alright, bro, I'm good, you know. But anyway, that's way too much Kanye West talk.
Yeah, did not think that was the question you were coming with at the super chats, but appreciate you for sending the super
Yeah,
chat.
man, you know. All right, Phil. Let's wrap this up. What you got to plug, man? You got a Grapsody channel now. Have you got any articles or something that you've wrote recently? Talk to me, man.
Yeah, we do have the Grapsody YouTube channel. Just started that recently. You can follow us on YouTube, youtube.com/@Grapsody. Rhapsody will be coming to you at the usual scheduled time, noon Eastern time on Fightful's YouTube channel. I just wrote an article that went up this morning about them potentially changing to Las Vegas. We don't have confirmation yet, but seems about as firm as it's going to get. The fact
it's
that
coming.
the fact that the New Orleans site NOLA.com was just basically like, yeah, they're staying in Vegas. I was like, yeah, it seems like that's where we're going.
Yeah, man, good shit. So people, go and you know, obviously if you don't follow Phil already, make sure you follow him as well. Keep up to date with his streams, Grapsody, his articles that he writes. He's a good guy, you know, good at what he does. And yeah, man.
Yet to be determined. Some people don't feel the same way. But
You can't please everybody, bro. Especially in this space, man. It's a mess. But we what have I got to plug? Obviously, I appreciate you guys for all tuning in. The few of you that sent super chats and just you guys being interacting with us in the live chat just normally as well. We should be back tomorrow at about the same time, around about 2:33 p.m. and it will be myself and Big AO. So we're gonna be doing some. I think we're gonna be doing like just predictions and a preview of Double or Nothing and stuff like that. So yeah, man. Should I just drop something, but that can wait. But yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in. Hit us up tomorrow. Be back on the channel tomorrow around 2:30 p.m. Of course, we'll do the tweets and stuff on the Purist page, so you'll be all up to date. Hope to see you there, and we will see you next time. Phil, massively appreciate you coming by. We gotta do this again. Get more regular with this because it's been way too long since you was last time, man. Way too long.
yeah. It is wild. It's wild that before we got on, we were talking about it that I basically met you through Spaces because we would talk all the time in Spaces when Spaces was not weird, and it's just not what it was,
Good old
man.
days.
Not what it was when like we have Spaces like running like an entire night and then get up at like 7 a.m. and be back in the Spaces, and Yeah,
Yeah,
and
man.
I
I
like
don't
that
know
no
how we
more now.
found all the time, you know. But
No,
like,
it sounds crazy to do now. There's no way I would do that anymore.
100%. It probably was at the time as well. But yeah, man. Definitely got to have you back. And yeah, like I said, guys, appreciate you guys for tuning in and your support as always. And we'll hopefully see you tomorrow. Peace.